Hey everyone, James from TDB here, bringing you another Inbetweenisode. Today I am going to be talking about 3 much cheaper Yiwu teas that you can go out and buy. I apologize for showing my mug up here close. I realized I just shut down one of them. I wanted to load up that listing. Okay, so we are going to be talking about 3 different semi-aged Yiwus that are inexpensive. So one thing I have in my notes is that 10 years ago or so, I did a Tea of the Month report, which is essentially me just kind of doing a theme tasting of something like 20 teas or whatever. And so in this tasting, I was focused on semi-aged Yiwu / Six Famous Mountain teas. So there's a lot of teas because it's 2015. Semi-aged then was like basically the mid-2000s. And it was a lot of those teas from kind of like anonymous / not very big factories, Changdahao, random Yunnan sourcing, Yiwu pressings from different factories and whatnot. And they're very modestly priced, so on one hand, they could be very nice daily teas. On the other hand, it was a very, how should I put this, uninspiring lineup of different teas there. And so the what has really changed in kind of the availability of teas is that, now semi-aged is very different. We're talking about teas from like 2004, 2005, that same range, all the way up until, 2014, 2015. And the price range has also changed quite a bit too. So there's a lot of very pricey kind of boutique type teas. So you're talking about like the Taiwanese boutiques, but you're also talking about different boutiques, like some of those Western boutiques have gotten quite expensive over time too. And so this kind of like cheap and cheerful Yiwu tier is not, as prominent. In fact, I had a hard time coming up with teas that were as inexpensive as those that I would feel okay recommending. But nonetheless, here we go. I'm kind of defining it at 40 cents a gram, which is kind of a high starting point, certainly higher than I would have thought back then. But if you think about how inflation has changed, we're talking about, probably a 30% increase or so. So something like 30 cents a gram back then is the same as 40 cents a gram now. So I have 3 teas that I wanted to highlight here. First up is the 2006 Zhongcha from Quiche. This is not a very exciting tea in my opinion, but it is solid. And if you wanted to give, it is kind of like training wheels Yiwu. It has some good sweetness. You can push it around quite a bit. You can tell that the character is very different from something like a Monghai Tea Factory or Shaoguan tea. So if you just want to like get, something that's semi-aged and good enough to drink, like I don't mind drinking the tea. This one is a good example of that, and that I just looted that up. It's something like $56 for kind of a standard 357 gram cake. So you're talking, what is that in terms of like 16 cents, 17 cents a gram? So that's under $1 per session. Pretty good. You can't do too much better than that. So a very unexciting Yiwu. I don't think it's going to age to be anything great or anything like that, but it does give you that basic taste. And if you are a newer person, I would wholeheartedly recommend it. For someone like myself who has a lot of tea already, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The next up is the 2008 Yiwu Zhongshan Tongxing Laozi Hao. This one is sold by Yunnan Sourcing. It is $101.75, so about 25 cents per gram at the time of this recording. And I think this is, I sampled probably 6 of kind of the semi-aged offerings that Yunnan Sourcing has. This one's pretty good. It has good strength, it's fairly clean, and it's decently strong. And so that's the thing that I think really stands up. And I think it's something that I probably undervalued at a certain point in my kind of tea journey. And I think, value a little more strongly now, is how sturdy are its bones. And this one has nice sturdy bones. You're not going to blow your socks off or anything, but you shouldn't expect to have your socks blown off for that kind of price point. So very kind of solid budget tea. I think this one will actually age okay. I like this tea a fair bit more than the one from Quiche. Next up, I have the 2007 Yangqinghao Jincha. This is an interesting tea because it used to be more expensive, partly because it was being sold by someone else, so there was an extra middleman. So I got introduced to this tea right when Origin Tea was going out of business. It used to be something like $170. I bought a 50 gram sample, and it was definitely kind of one of the highlight teas that I had from them. And the price has basically just not gone up very much, so it's now less expensive than that. You can buy this for $120. You can get it just straight from Emmett. And it's just a very solid tea. The reason you would kind of caveat this appropriately is that it is a Yongqing Hao tea, so it's Taiwanese boutique. Not everyone loves their tea. For me, at least, this is easily my favorite of the 3 teas we're talking about. It's also the most expensive. But I think it's a very solid intro. It has a lot of those Yiwu characteristics. It is compressed way too heavily, so that part is kind of a real pain in the butt. But, for the price, I think you could do much, much worse. So, yeah, that concludes this In-Betweenisode. Let me know if you tried these teas. Let me know how you like them. And I will see y'all next time. Cheers.